Hey, Amy, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Pat. How are you?
Great. I wanted to take a few minutes and just talk about some exciting new first-time homebuyer programs that are out there, and then maybe we can wrap it
Mhm.
up having a little conversation about kind of an old-time friend that's working its way back into the spotlight, if we may, for first-time homebuyers. So the first one you and I were talking about the other day is this interesting new grant program.
Yeah,
You want to take a minute and just talk about what it is?
sure. It's a mass housing program. So you have to go on the mass housing website and get approved for the grant. And you have to, with the grant, you have to live in one of 28 communities, including Boston. And they list their 28 communities, and one is the town of Barnstable. And
Mhm.
if you live in one of those communities, you can buy anywhere in the state of Massachusetts, and you can get up to $50,000 as a forgivable grant. And that would be used towards your down payment and your closing cost. You can actually buy down points to get your rate better. You can buy upfront mortgage insurance so you don't have a mortgage insurance premium. So I think that's exciting for people that live in the town of Barnstable. It goes by your income limit. So if you're,
Okay.
it's called area medium income. And if you are at 80% of that, which is 92,000, you can, if you're below that amount, you can actually get up to the 50,000. If you're
Wow.
135% of that, which would be 156,000, you can get 35,000 it's a forgivable grant. So it's in the town of Barnstable. So your client you're going to want to look for is your first time home buyer that may have some money to put down, because
Okay.
they'd like you to find the property ahead of time and then apply for the grant. And what they will do is they'll take the grant, and if you qualify, you can decide to pay some closing costs with it, use it for down payment, but you can also use up the grant to buy down points and get your rate back to where they used to be,
Oh,
hopefully
well.
where they used to be. So that's a really, really nice program. There's another program that's been out with mass housing. It's called Workforce Advantage. And
Mhm.
Workforce Advantage will give you up to 50,000 if you buy in one of the gateway communities. And
Hmm.
one of those gateway communities is the town of Barnstable,
Mhm.
but they'll give you 30,000 if you buy anywhere in the state of Massachusetts. So you don't have to live there. You can just buy wherever you want. And the nice thing about that is they both have 640 credit scores, which usually is typically low for mass housing. Their debt to income ratio is about 45%, so that's average. But
Okay.
having the 30,000 as it's what they do with that and the workforce advantages, rather than a grant, which is forgivable, it's a soft second at 0%.
Oh,
So it
wow.
sits on the back of the first loan,
Yeah.
and you only repay it if you refinance or if you sell the property, then you would have to repay it.
Huh.
So they're both some really nice products there. And I
Interesting.
think in this market, it's going to help a lot, because if you're looking at if you could get 30 or 50,000 off your purchase price and use some of it to cover your closing costs, pay your mortgage insurance up front, so then you don't have to worry about that extra payment, pay down your rate a little bit. I think it's
Yeah.
going to help some people. And I think we're going to see these first time home buyers coming back in this market because things are starting to change.
Yes, they are. We know that very well.
Yeah,
And it'd be
definitely.
great, so many families and individuals have been pushed out. And this may be a way for them to work their way back into it. So,
Exactly. And I think that it actually has to do with the COVID-19 and where they felt it hit hardest. And I think that's where they picked Barnstable as one of the areas. So they went through and picked Boston and 28 other areas. And
wow.
it depends. It's a little confusing with them
Yeah.
because like I said on the dreams one, we call it dreams, which is the grant program. You have the 80% of the 135% of the
Yeah.
median area income, but when it comes to workforce advantage, it goes by number of people in your household.
Hmm.
So there's different ways you qualify there, but they're
Okay.
both great programs. I mean, to have a soft second sitting on your house and you don't have to pay it back is pretty nice too. And you
Now,
can get up to 30,000 and buy anywhere and live
right.
anywhere. So you could live in Dennis and buy in Dennis.
Now, do these programs extend the closing timetable, if you will?
I would give it an extra week just to be on the
Okay.
safe side, because you're gonna have to go through a mass housing application, and we
Yeah.
have to work with them on what the down payment is gonna be.
Okay, and you're able to help guide a buyer, borrower through the process
Oh,
if they call you.
absolutely. We
Yeah.
do this all the time. Yep.
Great. And there's another program out there that I know it's been around for a while, and I've had clients that have used it, and it kind of went a little bit by the wayside, at least as far as our clients are concerned, with the market going the way it is, and that's the USDA backed.
Oh, yeah,
program.
USDA has a great program. USDA is 100% financing. You can buy anywhere on the Cape except for the town of Barnstable, so it's a little different than Dreams. So you
Yeah.
can't buy in the town of Barnstable, but you can buy anywhere else. It's 100% financing. It has a discounted rate. The mortgage insurance is 0.35%. Which is very low, and you have a 1% funding fee that they add to the loan. So if you have, they have low debt to income ratios, and the credit score 640. So if you have a client that, the average, they make under, say, 110, I think is around what the limit is. I'd have to look it up. But if they
Yeah.
make around 100,000 and they don't have a lot of debt, and they don't have a lot of money to put down, this is a great way to do it. And what I usually tell realtors is, when you're making an offer with USDA, a lot of people say, well, the seller wants to see some money up front. So how can we do that if it's 100% financing? Well, you can make $1,000 offer, and then you can put 5,000 with your P&S, and we can use it towards closing cost and prepaid items.
There you go.
So that way they have some skin in the game.
Yeah.
It's a way around it, but it's a great program, one of my favorites.
And those do have a little bit of an extension on the timetable for closing.
They do, because what happens is, once we get through, and we have to have the title to do it as well, once we get the package, we have to send it out to USDA for a final approval. So it depends on what their time frame is. In this market right now, they're probably not that backed up. Last year, they were backed up sometimes up to 2 weeks. So we just have to make sure. So I usually tell people, when you're making an offer, let me reach out to an underwriter and find out what the turn time is for USDA.
Sure. Yeah.
Just to make sure we have enough. I usually try to add at least a week.
Yeah. I mean, certainly the last 2 years, give or take, have been very difficult for first-time home buyers, and it sounds like these programs are giving some light to the possibility that they may be able to purchase a home of their own.
Correct, or a condo.
Right.
Condo's a nice first-time home buyer product for them. A lot of people will buy a condo and keep it for 2-3 years and then sell and, move up.
Right, get your foot in the door, and then.
Correct, yeah, little less in price. Yep,
Right.
so you can use these programs on condos as well.
Okay, great, all great information. Thank you very much, Amy.
No problem, anytime.